Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba podcast. This is episode 61. Today's guest is Clifford Taylor, a good friend of mine. Clifford Taylor, how's it going, my man?
Good, man. Back in the Sunshine State. So, it's all good vibes here.
So I saw on your TikTok, you posted the TikTok from when you were in New Jersey. That
Mhm.
ship has sailed for you now. So happy to be back in Florida.
Oh, dude, it's refreshing. As soon as I got in, it was just like I've missed all of this warm weather. I've just missed the vibes. It's just, yeah, home sweet home.
How was your weekend?
It was good, man. Spent it kind of taking it lightly. My dad's birthday was 2 days ago, so I spent the birthday with him, my mom, because their anniversary's on his birthday too. So yeah, just pretty much cooling this weekend. But next weekend or this coming weekend, send the ER, send 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 everybody.
So did you get a chance to watch those UFC fights at all?
No, see, man, I was so just out of it Saturday. Like I hit the road on Saturday like around 9 o'clock, and man, I ain't even get in till like 9 p.m. So I was just so like, man, I was just like, I mean, I was just so out of it. I'm like, nah, bro, like that fight, I'll see the replay on Twitter, on TikTok, one of the two. I'll be all right. So yeah, so no, I'm good. I'm
It
good
was
though.
it was
Crazy,
actually
crazy
it was
ending.
in yeah, it was in Miami too,
Yeah.
which was even crazier. So I did see that you were at LinkedIn about a week ago or so. So for
Yep.
people, wanting to know more about what you do kind of on a daily basis, and I know you do social media and you do a lot of sports content, how did that whole LinkedIn thing come about?
Yeah, really. So it was kind of something that was in the works for like for a while, actually, now that I think about it. So I had built a rapport with one of the workers there pretty much when I was working with the Rams. And she was like, if you're ever in town or ever in Jersey and you want to meet up, let's do something. And I was like, cool, perfect, let's do it. And so it just became one of those things where it was like, you know what? Now that I have enough time doing my own thing, it's like I might as well do it now before I head back home. So I just kind of got back in contact with her. Had no idea that it was in the Empire State Building, which was incredible. So got to go into the building, have lunch with everybody, and then I got to go to the top of the Empire State Building, which is something I never ever thought I would do, but it was really cool. Got a whole bunch of pictures. I think I made a TikTok out of it. But yeah, no, it was crazy. Yeah, LinkedIn is a very, 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 very fire corporation.
Was it your first time at the Empire State Building?
So I, w- my parents swear up and down I went when I was a kid, but I have no recollection. So in my eyes, yes, but in their eyes, no. So yeah, no, but it was really cool though, to say the least. It was very, very cool.
So for the people at home, kind of figuring out what you do on a daily basis, tell them a little bit about the Clifford show and what that's like and how that all started.
Man, it's funny because as of yesterday, it's now an official LLC in Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was just something that came about like a couple years ago. I had always been getting these like little tips of advice from like TikTok workers, and they would always say, come up with your own hashtag to like really stand out from other football creators. And a good friend of mine, AJ Green, he's had AJ 15 or yeah, AJ TV, and he's pretty much had it on a whole headlock since he started doing it. So I was like, okay, like I'll think of something. So I was just kind of thinking of names, kind of going down a list, and I was like, CTV, nah, sounds like CTE. Clifford, just Clifford. No, everybody's gonna think of the big red dog. Clifford Taylor, boring. Clifford show. Let's try that. So
Yeah.
I just went with that, and now anytime I like, sometimes I'll go in like public and I'll be like the Clifford show, or sometimes like I'll do a podcast and I'll be like the Clifford show, and it's like there you go. I guess it's caught on. I guess it's finally caught on.
And you just hit 1 million followers on TikTok. So where were you when that happened? What was that like? Because I know you were posting on social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the whole nine of just, your follower count of how it was, continuing and how you were hitting 800 and 900. And it was slow. It was slowly but surely getting there right close to 1 million on your, boys trip weekend that you told me about. So what was it like hitting that 1 million?
It it was, if anything, it was fitting, and it was surreal because, like I said, it was one of those things where, like, coming into the year, I think I come into the year, I think just over 400, like 401, something like that. And then so my end of the year goal was 500, was half a mil, because I was like, I'll never even snip a mil. Like, there's just no way. And then I started doing these little center videos, and they just took a life of their own. I mean, next thing you look up, 600, then 700, then 800, and then the week before I went to South Florida with my homeboys, 900. And I'm like, bro, there is a legit chance this could happen this week. And so, man, when it happened, it was one of those things where, like, you can continue to see it go up, and it's like, wait a minute, we're at 997 now. We're at 990. Yo, this could happen today. So I just went straight to live. I wanted to get I want the followers, my supporters, to feel that moment with me. So went on TikTok live, and then I had my phone just locked and loaded, ready for when it happened. And then when it happened, man, it's just like all that, everything just like hit me all at once. Like, starting, it was just an accident. I did a couple videos, and then boom, I was on my way. And they're just going talking about my walk-on story, my time in sports, my time with my deals with mental health and all that. It's like it just all came together in that, like, just instant of a moment. The minute it flipped from like 900 something thousand to a million, it just like hit me. And it was just like, man, like, that was crazy. And for it to happen, back in Florida where I started doing it, it was just like stars just aligned. Just, it couldn't have been aligned more perfectly. So yeah, that was a crazy moment. And I was like, man, I was like, I got to do something, because because I never really had parties or birthday parties growing up. So I was like, nah, this deserves a celebration. And then it was actually something we all thought of together when we were just like, do you want to do your million party next weekend, or you want to do it like close to your birthday? And I was like, wait a minute, what if we did birthday and 1 million and 2 and 1? And they were like, oh, that's gonna be crazy. So that's what I ended up doing. It's worth the wait. It's gonna be worth the wait, hopefully this Saturday, 15th. But yeah, man, it was surreal. It was surreal.
So for the people who don't know who Clifford is or have seen him, make sure to give him a follow on TikTok at Clifford, and Instagram is Clifford Taylor IV. And we'll definitely shout you out again before the end of the show. But he does a lot of funny content, super interesting stuff. The sports videos are super funny. So make sure to go over to TikTok and hit that check mark, and you'll see that blue verification on there. So on your story, you posted the big announcement, saying basically you have a big announcement. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, man. So, man. So, yeah, birthday and million celebration, Gainesville, Florida. I'll be in Gainesville Wednesday, because I'm gonna be in town for the spring game that Thursday, and then that Saturday, man, it's gonna be just, I can't even describe it. This is gonna be a special moment for me and all my friends that are there. And it's just, man, 1 million in birthday celebration. Never, like I said, never had a party growing up, and it's gonna be awesome.
That's awesome. So, how did you get that together with White Buffalo, correct?
Yeah.
So, how did that all come about for people just, obviously not having the platform that you have, but just for people listening and wanting to know, oh, that's really cool. I can attend that celebration, or like kind of like how it all came together.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where I kind of told Justin, like, in advance. I'm like, hey, yo, Jay, I'm like, it might be in March, it might be in April, but I'll give you a 2 weeks notice. When it happens, get the tables ready. get 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 the tables ready. And so yeah, basically I kind of gave him a heads up. And so the moment it happened, I was like, okay, well, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen sometime in April. And then we all just kind of like finalized the date, because it was actually, we were gonna do it uh the first weekend in April. I'm glad we didn't do it, because I did my little research, and I remember Dance Marathon was that weekend. So that wasn't gonna work. This past weekend, just moved back home. Wasn't gonna work. So I was like, the following week, spring game, party, hey, let's do it. So yeah, man, and it's crazy that it's 5 days away. It's literally right around the corner. So yeah, I couldn't be more excited for it.
Hey, this weekend it's coming. So a few days ago, you actually collaborated with the Panthers.
Yeah.
The how did that all come about, and like where did that start? Because I remember you were telling me briefly about that, but for the people listening at home that are wanting to get in similar shoes as you wanting to become a content creator or a sports creator, how does that all come about?
Man, so it was something that was really in the works for a while because like I was already kind of cool with some of like I was already kind of cool with some of the Panthers like social media people, and so when I when I finished doing stuff with the Rams, I was like, hmm, now that I'm now that I'm on my own, I can do I can do whatever I want. And so basically it was one of those things where once I was done with the NBA, it was like, all right, cool. Who am I gonna hit up? And so as I moved down, I was just like, okay, uh, let me just hit up the Panthers and see what they want to do if they want to do anything. And then next thing I knew, they responded to me, and I was like, "Oh, wow, perfect, perfect." And so I was in Charlotte, for a few days, and we were able to make it happen. They hooked me up with some Panther stuff, which was really cool. That was actually my first time like on the turf. Well, it's turf now. I don't think it was turf when I was a kid, but yeah, the turf now at Bank of America Stadium. So we did stuff in the stadium, outside the stadium, in their little draft rooms and all that, and it was a fun 2.5 hours, man. But yeah, that was something off my bucket list. Once I started taking this stuff like seriously, I was like, I want to collab with my favorite teams, my favorite players. Favorite players might be a stretch, but favorite teams definitely. And I already got one checked off. Actually, no, two, because I did stuff with the Gators before, so I got two checked off. So all that's left is the Hornets, and actually, yeah, just the Hornets. Yeah. So
So you're living in Orlando now, is that correct?
yep, yes, sir.
So are there any, possibilities down the road here with, maybe collaborating with the Magic or maybe collaborating with the Orlando soccer team there? Anything like that, could come about for you?
I And a little thing about me, I love watching soccer. I actually love watching soccer, so that's something that I won't shy away from at all. So if it does happen, hey, sign me up. But I know with the Magic season being over, off season might be a dope time. But yeah, honestly, if it happens, that'd be great. If not, totally fine. I'll just continue to grow and just work my way up as a creator.
So going back in time a little bit, maybe it feels like a while from for you because you've been doing so many different things with content creation and a lot of sports, content as well. But you did work for the NBA, you worked for their social team. So what was that like?
Man, it was one of those things where it was just like I think really once I started working for the league, it was like really, really, really just humbling and really surreal. Cause like growing up, basketball was all I did. Basketball was literally all I did. And so growing up, I wanted to be in the NBA. I wanted to be an NBA champion. So, this was the greatest consolation prize in the world. So they kind of showed me the ropes from day one. They kind of like brought me in right away. They didn't treat me like I was bigger than them or anything like that, which I didn't want them to. So it was just fit right in like a glove. And then from there, we were just yeah, we just clicked, man. And then they asked me if I wanted to go. And it's crazy because they've been there so long. So when they had asked me to go to the finals, I was like, why did you just say that so casually? Heck yeah, I want to go to the finals. Are you kidding me? And so I was like, yeah, like of course I want to go to the finals. So got to go to the finals, man, and like them hotels and like just the court access and the opportunities and the people that I met during the finals. It was just so surreal. And then when I got my hands on that Larry O'Brien trophy, I kid you not, bro. I swear I saw like a little reflection of myself when I was a kid, when I was hooping in the backyard with a headband and stuff on, like Vince Carter and guys like Kobe Bryant with the armbands, and it's just like, well, this is. Can you believe this? And so that's something that I always say like damn near every day when I wake up. I just sort of wake up and I'm just like, can you believe this? Can you believe this? And like I say, man, none of that I don't think would happen if it wasn't for that orange and blue. Straight up.
Absolutely. So going back, to what you just said there about your time with the NBA social team and the finals, and given the opportunity to work for the finals, you're a very big advocate for UF. You've done a lot of things for the UF community, sports and media. You played football there. You have a really big name there. For people at home, like the kids in college, the journalism students at UF, you're very familiar with, Professor Spiker and the journalism program there. What kind of advice can you give for students that are in the journalism sports media program, just some sort of advice for kids that are wanting to get into sports media but don't have the platform necessarily that you have? So what kind of advice can you give them?
I would say get after it right away, especially like now I'm starting to see a whole lot more like sports media interns that are currently in college and they could be like a junior or senior. Like one of my good friends who works for the Sixers now, Allie Clausen. She got a social media lead role with the Sixers like days after she graduated. And so it's just like, yeah, you gotta get after it quick. Cause like back when I was in college, it was one of those things where it's like they would always say, like, oh, you got plenty of time, once your senior year starts, that's when you can really, get after it. And it was like now it's like if they told me that now, I'd be like, man, the devil is a liar. So I would just say get after it. And one thing I would always recommend, and this worked for me 2 times, is once you apply for these places, start reaching out to people that work with that organization right away. And it doesn't matter which department it's in, it could be social, ticketing, marketing, because you want to build those connections so that way the more people put in a good word for you, the better chances of you getting an interview and more than likely the job. And it actually worked for one of my guys now who's working for the Pistons as a graphic designer. His name's Damon. He did the same thing I told him, and it's so dope, especially now when people ask me, especially doing stuff of my own. But yeah, when he told me he got that job with the Pistons, man, I almost shed a tear, bro, because it's like, man, it's like my ideas and my thought process, it worked. And like it worked, and this is like living proof. So yeah, I'm talking about the minute you apply, start reaching out to people on LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever the case is. And oh yeah, another thing, I learned this too, and I've seen it firsthand. Yeah, if you don't have a cover letter, you can honestly forget it. Your resume could be the greatest resume of all time, but if you don't got that cover letter, they will literally in a heartbeat.
Well, wise words from you, some great advice there. So recently, on your Instagram, you got a chance to see that you teamed up with Champs Raise back in your hometown of Charlotte to raise money for mental health care, back in your hometown. So how did that all come about and what was that like?
Yeah, so that came about really when I took a break from social media back in like October, November, December. It was one of those things where it's just like because I knew I was dealing with some mental health stuff at that point, and for me, it was one of those things where I felt like I was at a level and a point where it was like, okay, think I have a big enough platform now where I can like use this platform for good and actually use it for something beneficial. And so I talked to my guy Tyler Jordan, who's the founder of Champs Raise and one of my agent Michael Raymond's PR people. And I was like, yo, I was like, do you know if any like fundraiser or just like awareness joints that are in Charlotte? And he was like, yeah, I can take a look. And then we came across the Facts Initiative. Then had about like a 1 to 2 hour Zoom call with them, just kind of telling them my story, and why I want to help. And so literally from that point on, they were all ears and they were all in for it. And then so I started a fund through transfer Raise. And so yeah, now we're just raising a whole boatload of money. And now I'm also at a point now where it's like, the money I make from these endorsement deals and things like that, I can put a percentage of that towards, the initiative now. So not only does it, look good, for tax reasons, but just for people that genuinely need it. So yeah, because like I said, mental health care it ain't cheap. So so that's really why I wanted to do something and help out.
That's a great thing that you're doing that for your hometown and you're able to, give back and people can see, the other side of you of just minus the content creation side of just, what you do at, in your daily life as an individual and, going from there. So talk about your partnership with, Shopgld because I see, you wear a lot of their jewelry and you show that off on your social media. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I feel so weird not wearing it right now, but yeah, man, GLD, man, that was that was a dream deal, and I didn't even realize it was a dream deal at the time. But yeah, man, I partnered up with them back in December, yeah, December of 2021, and because I had always told Mike, I'm like, yo, man, I was like, I always go for some new jewelry because like for those who knew me at Florida, they knew me based off of my two initial chains that I would always wear, like always. And so I was like, well, I kind of want to do something new, get some new fresh joints. You know, I'm in LA now at the time. I'm like, I want to get something fresh, to get something new. So got a GLD deal, and then next thing they told me, they're like, yeah, just send us some photos of you, and make sure to post them on this day, whatever, and we'll get you right. And so for me, it was just like, yeah, see, I hear you, but it's like I want to stand out because I would just look at like the other GLD partners and they would just kind of just take pictures like doing this and like just iPhone pictures, and I'm like, nah, I want to make this thing pop. I want to make it stand out. So call one of my buddies, Johnny Baru in LA, and I was like, yo, man, I'm like, let's get the studio and let's cook up for like an hour. Let's cook up and let's just, I had an all white fit. I was in like a freaking like almost like a spaceship, and we just, like I said, we just went to work for like an hour and a half, and we were just racking out some fire flicks, fire videos, posted them. Next thing I knew, they sent me back like a whole year contract of being with GLD. So I was like, yeah, that works. Going above and beyond in this content game works. And to quote my dude Brad Kraut, content is king, and that was living proof. So when that happened, I was like, okay, from here on out, if I get a deal, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do what they ask, but I'm gonna do it in a way that just catches them so off guard, so bad, where it's like they gotta bring me back. So that was my thought process through the whole thing.
It was almost like your draft day moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Big time.
So I did see that you got it. You posted a 6-minute TikTok video about your D1 football journey. And for the people who didn't get a chance to see that, can you give like a quick 30-second rundown of that short football experience for you and go from there?
Yeah, man. Hope, faith, and luck. That's what I live by, man, in this world. So yeah, man. Grew up hooping, wanted to play D1 basketball, obviously, had a couple looks here and there. Tried to walk on when I got accepted to Florida, didn't work out. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try intramural basketball. I ain't playing intramural flag football till my sophomore year. And then me and my buddies were torching everybody. And when you're 6'5", 6'6", and you just got a long wingspan, it's pretty easy. And a player just happened to be there one of those nights when I was just cooking them, and he gave me basically some insights of what it was like playing football for the Gators, because I guess he wanted me to play, and I was like, yeah, man, I ain't never played no football before, like no way. And so basically, he pitched it to me. The stars just aligned. We played LSU that week. It was an amazing game, a big time win, and I just kind of looked around and I was just like, what the heck? You only live once. I'll give it a shot. At that point, I was like 200 pounds soaking wet, and then I got to about like 225, 230. And then, so long story short, from October to February, October 2018 to February 2019, I was just working out every single day. And then we had our little tryout. It was only like four of us. Tried out, made the squad, but I had to wait until June because of my schedule. It killed me. And yeah, next thing I knew, man, June 24th, 2019, I was donning the orange and blue for the Gators football team, which is still surreal to think about. But yeah, that's that's the 30 minutes, or that's a 30-second nutshell.
Yeah. So do you mind sharing the person that walked up to you that night at the football flag football game and kind of basically changed your life and wrote your story for you?
My man Robert Clay, man, DB. He was 36. He was a couple years older than me. God bless him for seeing something in me, man. Because like I said, I was over there playing intramural football for fun. Had no intentions of trying out for the football team even after that for a little while. So yeah, man, Robert Clay, man, DB walk on. His work ethic was unbelievable. We were actually work weightlifting buddies when we were on the squad, so it was just so fitting. Man, he got me right, bulked me up, bro. But yeah, man, Robert Clay, man, he's a legend. I don't think I don't even think he realizes what's happened now. So,
what
but
what he did what he did for you.
what he
So
did,
I
yeah.
going back to what you just said about you had to bulk up and gain weight, and you were getting in the gym. You were at one point you were 200 pounds, and then you moved to 225. So for people listening at home, The last week's podcast guest, I had a fitness trainer slash army veteran, and he was kind of going into the bulk side of gaining weight and the other side of that. Can you give anyone, advice on, how to gain weight properly, how to eat properly as an athlete, and also, be in the gym?
Yeah, so being in the gym, I thought was the hardest part, but it's really just in the mind. Really, it's just a thought process. And for me, it was just like, okay, well, I would ask myself anytime I didn't feel like working out, I would just kind of sit there and ask myself, do you want to make this damn football team? And I'd be like, of course. Get your tail up, go to Southwest Rec, get about get about an hour to 2 hours in there and just grind. So I would tell myself that quite a bit. And so as far as like protein and stuff, so I would just take like Gatorade protein shakes because I'm not gonna lie. I would ask the players beforehand. I'm like, hey, what kind of protein y'all be drinking? And they would tell me. So like they would tell me, oh yeah, we use Gatorade protein and nutritional shakes. And I'm like, bet. So I would just go on Amazon, order the Gatorade protein shakes, the vanilla ones. They taste just like a milkshake. They're fire. And so I would drink like man because they were like little. I think they were smaller than a 12 ounce. So they were
Yeah, I think
small.
so too.
Yeah, so I would drink like maybe like 2 to 3 a day, and then I could just see the results, and I was just man, I'm like, I see the results, and I hope to God they weren't lying about this protein, man, because I'm starting to see something. So, yeah, man, them Gatorade protein and nutrition shakes, they're solid and they're legit and they're valid. So, yeah, like I said, man, just hitting the gym is really just a mindset. You just gotta, and I'm not saying you gotta get up at like no 6 or 7 o'clock. Like get your rest. Rest is an important part of the training process. So get your rest and yeah, make sure like you get in at least 4 to 5 workouts a week. Like for me, I tried to go every day, but there would just be some days when my body would just be like, hey, relax today. Relax. Don't you got homework anyway? Just ease up, ease up. So yeah, I would just say just keep going after it, get after it, get after it. And more than anything, I would say build connects with these players while you can. Because listen, I know on the outside we look like superheroes, but I promise you, if you just bump into us or say something to us, we're normal people. We're normal people. We would actually appreciate it if you reached out to us about stuff like that. And I learned that, reaching out to guys like Jacob Finn and Kyle Pitts about that stuff. And so, like I said, it all just worked out in my favor, man. And as far as that whole tryout stuff, it's like, man, it's like nowadays I be hearing it's like 40, 50 deep at these tryouts. Because granted, it's a lot more public now. Because like I'm from the Mullen era, and he kept it like low key. So now it's like, man, it's like it's out in the public. I'm glad it is, but it's like 40, 50, 60 people deep now. And it's just like that's like it's music to my ears, man. Like I just love hearing stuff like that. Like, man, these this many people are willing to not only join the team but make that sacrifice. Like I'm sure they understand because I'm sure that they tell them in those introductory meetings. But yeah, no, it's refreshing to hear about stuff like that.
I didn't know you at this time when I was in Gainesville, but I had a football roommate. His name was Umstead Sanders. I'm not sure if you remember him. He was,
Yeah, I'm saying,
yeah,
yeah.
he was my roommate, and he would bring home those Gatorade shakes that you're talking about, and that's when it jogged my memory. I was like, dude, those are so freaking good, man. So he would bring
Oh
those
man.
home, and I would he'd be like, can you bring me some more of those? And so that also, I can definitely vouch. Those are really good. The gummies too are good as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The gummies, fire. Yeah. Damn,
So
I forgot about the gummies.
yeah, exactly. So no, those shakes were the bomb. So I remember you did talk about in the video as well. We didn't bring this part up, but like you were talking about how the playbook was like a PlayStation cheat code and it
Oh
was like a foreign language. So for people
yeah.
listening at home that just, play Madden and just watch on TV and they think, "Oh, it's just a quick slant," or "Oh, it's just a drag route." Can you tell people that it's not just that simple?
Man, I thought, man, I thought that playbook, I thought it was gonna be sweet when I got it, and then you get it, and it's like, what the hell is 14 crunch? What the hell is what pistol whip Phoenix? That like, bro. I mean, I was looking at that playbook, man. It was just like, bro, I'm better off learning Japanese. Like, I'm better off learning, Italian or something. It's just like, what am I looking at? I mean, it looked like some PlayStation cheat codes, and it was just like, when I first got there, I'm like, bro, can somebody please help me? Because like when I got there, like I said, I thought it was gonna be easy, but then I remember that first install quiz we had, man. It was like, I think it was the first day of camp. Granted, no one told me we was having this quiz or anything because I still didn't know the playbook or nothing. So man, that first quiz, I had like a freaking, I had like a 37 or something like that on there, and I was just like, bro, what did I just walk myself into? But instead of just whining and complaining and moaning about it, I'm like, nah, like okay, that happened. Learning curve, that ain't happening again. So I got cool with our GA at the time, Julian Alonso. Love that man to death still. He taught me a lot, like more than he'll ever know. But yeah, we would have like afternoon sessions, night sessions where he would just like show me, the hand signals, the formations, the concepts, why I'm doing certain things. And so I'm gonna be real. It took me the whole season to really grasp the playbook. But man, my senior year, man, bro, I was so excited for spring ball because I finally understood everything. And then COVID happened, and I'm like, bro, this has got to be a joke. So this has got to be a mirage. So once some- once we came back for training camp my senior year in 2020, man, I walked into camp with so much more extra swagger in my step. Just like I felt comfortable, and it's like, man, football's a lot more fun when you know what the hell is going on. So yeah, man. Once I got that playbook down, it was on and popping. Some get it quicker than others, but yeah, for incoming freshmen, get ready, man, because them playbooks are crazy work. And depending on the coach that you have, uh, they might make you want to know what every single player is doing, not just your route. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about Coach Scott, who was my first tight end coach. He made you look beyond what you're responsible for doing. And so all of those things that he taught me in that short time frame that he was there, it made my senior year transition that much more easier. So yeah, like it sucked at the time because it was just like, bro, like I don't need to know what they're doing. I just need to know what I'm doing. But in the long haul, and honestly, even as a creator now, it taught me to look at detail. So yeah, that's a big takeaway. Shout out Coach Scott, man. So yeah, I appreciate him.
Was there ever a time during your time, the beginning of your football career with UF, where you were just so nervous and you were didn't want to walk up to any of the coaches or the players and be like, man, I don't know this playbook at all, like what the hell do I do?
You know what though? And it's so weird because it's like I was I was never I, I wouldn't say I was ever shy as far as that because it was like, okay, I'm sure these guys, especially the young bucks, they understand like this is no walk in the park. So for me, it was like, you know what? I was never really shy like that. And as ironic as it is, because then I pull up the white buff or fats, and I'd be so shy to talk to one of these like cute girls over there. I'm like, I don't know. I was just never shy when it came to sports like that. So I kind of told them straight up, and I remember I told my coach, and he was just like, he said, "quote I was waiting for you to say something," and so I was like, "Yeah, I'm telling you now because like, look, I don't want to be a lost soul for the entirety of my career. Like that's the last thing I want." So I would tell them straight up, and I think they respected me a lot more for for being open and honest like that. So, and like I said, it worked out in the long run, man.
Honesty is key. The book is wide open. So towards the end of the
Yeah,
video, yeah, towards the end of the video, you mentioned the 11-2 season, the COVID season. What you've just said, basically, you felt like it was your best season. Talk a little bit about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, like I said, man, like I had understood the playbook like the back of my hand. The scout team peers, I was a lot more comfortable when I was, back to playing scout team tight end because my first year, man, I was playing like scout team tight end, center, receiver, D line. Like I remember one time they had me at corner. I'm like, bro, like be for real. So yeah, like it all worked out, man. And like I said, like I just kind of came in with a little more confidence and a little more swagger in my step. A lot of other stuff was going for me at the time, so it was like I ain't had no worries. The only word I really had at that point was really COVID because our offense was just so iconic. But yeah, like I just I just really didn't have, and it sounds crazy to say, I just didn't have any worries in that 2020 season. I was just so confident and just they were telling me like, yo, but like, yo, hey, and they would just give me the signals, and I'm like, gotcha. Bang. Like it was, I just really built that chemistry with everybody, and it was so cool that I was at a point where I could like joke and stuff about it because it was just like, yeah, I got you, I got you. Hey, how far you want me to run it? 10 to 12. Cool. So yeah, I just really built that rapport, and it was awesome.
I could not imagine you at cornerback. I'm sorry, but I just could not see you at corner.
Neither could I. Neither could I. Yeah,
Oh man.
neither could I.
Imagine them putting you at corner and you were side by side next to Marco watching him throw the football. Shoot. Oh man,
God,
I couldn't imagine that. So moving on to
man.
your 7-on-7 football, you know, thing you do for content creators and you go to different locations around the United States. How did that all come about?
Really, it was a conversation I had with a couple sponsors and a good friend of mine, AJ Green, because AJ he had told me that he was just gonna build his own team that year, and I'm like, dude, that's freaking awesome. And so it was one of those things where I talked to him because it was just like we're pretty close friends in the content game, and I was like, yo, I was thinking about pulling up to some cities for some sevens. I'm like, you think that's a good idea? And he was like, bro, that's a great idea. And I thought he was gonna shut it down and be like, nah, this is my thing. But he was really supportive with me doing it. So shout out to him. And then I built a rapport with joints like Shock Doctor, and obviously GOD was on board. And then he actually asked me to come to NOLA for his 7-on-7s. So I was like, bro, sign me up. I'm there. And so it's just been cool to like not only get these guys exposure, but just like get them right because when I did the ones in Seattle, it was like an hour long. But man, like a lot of those guys, they were DMing me saying like, "Yo, like, thanks for putting me on. Appreciate you for putting me on." And I'm like, "That's what it's all about." Like for me, I could care less about the views. I could care less about the engagement as long as these players are getting exposure the right way. That's really all that matters because I'm at a point now where it's like, okay, you're 24 now. You want to keep doing this content thing, but how are you going to impact the next generation, whether they want to be an athlete, whether they want to be a creator? And I was just like, 7-on-7s is a very big thing right now. Let's do that and let's do it the right way instead of just doing it for the views. And so, yeah, my last one, man, I told them let's do it in Florida. So we're doing it in Tampa, April 22nd up to 23rd. Shock Doctor will be there. A whole bunch of scouts will be there. So yeah, man, Tampa, Florida, April 22nd, 23rd. It's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be an absolute banger.
If you guys don't know what Clifford is doing on April 22nd and 23rd, he'll be in Tampa, Florida with 7-on-7 scouts, Shock Doctor, Shopgld, the whole nine. It'll be awesome. So go check it out if you're in Florida. And if you're a big Gator fan, you'll love to see Clifford. So I know, we talked briefly about this over text, and, there was a time in your life not too long ago where, you went through some ups and downs, just like everybody else does. Not everybody, deals with it as, best as you did, or, was able to handle it like you did. So last year you battled with depression and you went into some, therapy, and, can you share that basically with the people listening?
Yeah, man. So yeah, man, therapy, man. It's a shame that I was a little late to the game, to the therapy game, but yeah, man, last year your boy was going through it. Your boy was going through it like towards like the end of the year. I was going through some stuff. I wouldn't say it was a burnout. It wasn't a burnout. It was just one of those things where I was just that imposter syndrome. It kicks in like an MFer, and it was just one of those days where it was just like this all this stuff that's been happening. It's like it's not supposed to happen to me. It's supposed to happen to someone that's been in this game, someone that's been studying for this, someone that's been working for this, forever. Not just a guy who got lucky on social media and now is doing all these things. So I would just have all these doubts and all this imposter syndrome, and it was just like it just took a really big toll on my mentals, a really big drain. And that wasn't the first time that it happened. Um, I think it was hell, it was like the fourth time in the last like year or two. So it was one of those things where I was like, man, I was like, I don't know if this is who I am, if this is for me. And so, shout out to the NBA too, man. They got me right. They got me right with a therapist up there. His name's Dr. Victor Kidd. Who's been awesome. And so we would just have continuous sessions, and then he would just continue to ask me like who am I? Do I know who I am? Is this stuff that I want to do in the long haul? And then he would always ask me like, like why, like what's your why and things like that. And so during that time, it was definitely time to kind of step away. And honestly, it was the best thing that I could have done because once I took that little break, my mind was like was fresh. It was like energized, and it was like, okay, now we can get back to working. And ever since I came back, it's been probably the biggest run of my career. Like I used to always say before, like nothing will ever surpass 2020. Like 2020, like I was on fire. Like I was on fire. And then as soon as I came back in December, it's just we've just been on such a tear. The support has just been unbelievable through the roof. But yeah, man, it came at a cost. So yeah, I definitely had to sit, think about it, pray about it, and safe to say that I made the right decision.
Absolutely. I will definitely say the same. And I'm glad that you figured out what you were, wanting to do and continuing with your social media career and content creation. But was there ever a time in that 3-month period where you just were potentially wanting to shut it all down and just walk away from everything?
Yeah, there were a few, man. There were a few, and I gotta say, man, like I think, man, the closest I ever was when I was in LA, when I was dealing with some stuff in LA, just being so far from home and stuff that was happening behind the scenes, with the Rams. Yeah, there were plenty times where I was just like, because there were moments where they took, and I shouldn't say they because not everybody there was bad. It was only a few people, but man, they it was like they tried their best to take the fun out of social media away from me. So yeah, I was very close to shutting it down many times when I was in LA because LA, that was probably the first time in my career where I didn't feel confident in the stuff that I was posting. I was just posting just for the sake of doing it. But once I moved back to the East Coast, I kind of regained my purpose, regained my passion for it. And yeah, like I said, I was very close, but I'm very glad that I decided to keep going for sure.
Mm. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that because what do you mean by you say you kind of really like lost yourself with like not reality, but like you lost touch with what you were really wanting to do like out there and you moved back here? Like where did that all come about when you were out there? Like was something happen or just you got burnt out or you just felt like you were just like another content creator out there and you weren't getting recognized? Like what do you mean by that?
Uh, to be honest with you, at that point in my career, a lot of that last part, because I was still young and I was still kind of looking for that validation. So a lot of that last part back in the day, but a lot of it really had to do with like stuff that was going on, where I was working at. And it was just one of those things where it's like I'm giving everything to them. And it's just like for me, from a personal standpoint, it's just like, man, it's like I love storytelling. I love talking about my journey, love talking about my life, but it was at a point where I didn't even like talking about it because so much was just happening. And it was just like, bro, it's like I don't know if I'm meant for this. Like I don't know if I'm meant to do this. And honestly, like living in LA, man, it can change you for better or for worse, man. And living in LA was so just humbling because like everybody there just wants to be somebody. And I feel like for me, I kind of fell into that trap just a little bit. So I mean, man, it was just like it was one of them things where it's just like when I look at it now, it gives me chills. It's like, man, like I was really, really, really close. But then when I moved back to New Jersey, when I moved to New Jersey, because at the end of the day, I'm an East Coast kid, and
Yeah.
so I think moving up there, especially having my own place too, because I had roommates in LA, they were cool, but like I
Yeah.
like, when it comes to content, I like to have my own space, be on my own, so I don't have any distractions or any disruptions or anything like that, or feel like I'm getting in the way of something. So for me, once I got my own place, got settled in, and it felt like home. So it was one of those things where I was just like, all right, like now I'm ready to kind of get back in this thing and get the ball rolling. So yeah, literally from the moment I moved back to Jersey, I mean, content was just nonstop. cooking, cooking, cooking. And it wasn't like I was just posting just to post or just to get recognized, at an In-N-Out burger or a Water burger or Relish. Shout out Relish in Gainesville. But yeah, like I think once I got back to Jersey, I kind of regained and revived my purpose for why I was doing this in the first place and why I decided to do this for the long haul in the first place. Forget the numbers, I mean, don't get me wrong, the recognition and all that, it's humbling, it's an honor. But at the end of the day, that's not really what it's about. It's really about giving back to the community, putting smiles on people's faces. And it sounds cliche, but once you've done this for a few years, then you understand, like, yeah, it really is about them. Like, it's never really about you. It's about who do you impact, who do you inspire on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of the approach that I take now. Even with these little center videos, like, when I started doing them, it was like, all right, this is like a little trend. I'll do it for a couple more times, and then I'll call it quits. But then I would start reading comments and being like, these make my day every day. These make my day every day. I love these, and I'm just like, wow, they actually get a kick out of it. And so then I was like, okay, I'll keep the ball rolling. And next thing you know, poof, 1 million. And it's like, damn, it's like all these people enjoy what I do, like all these people, and it's like for me, it's crazy because like when I think about it, it's like that's literally 10. That's like 10 Ben Hill Griffin stadiums. If you think about of people, and it's just like, nah, bro, this ain't real. This ain't real. But yeah, man, I definitely regained my purpose when I moved back on the East Coast. I'm an East Coast kid at heart, and hopefully for life. So
I can agree with that too personally, and I just want to throw my 2 cents in there about that as well because I, spent some time in LA. I was living there as well, and I can definitely agree with you and say that you can get lost there very easily. You can get lose touch with everybody because you're so far away, and everybody is doing the same thing there. Social media content creation, everybody wants to be the next best thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, you can just get lost in it so easily. So 5 questions to end the show for you. How different do you think your college career would have been if you didn't attend UF?
oh man, very, very. I to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't be as happy as, as I tend to be in the outside world. Because man, it was like for me, as spoiled as it sounds, it was Florida or bust for me. If it wasn't gonna be Florida, it would be somewhere else, but I wouldn't be happy about it, and I would be envious probably for the rest of my life. So I feel like my character probably would have been a lot different. I would have been working in like a graphic design firm or something like that. But yeah, man, it's like I man, it would have been very different. Definitely wouldn't be doing all this stuff I'm doing now. I'll just say that social media would probably I would just be a supporter, like I would say 95% of the world. So yeah, it would be very, very, very different.
What other college offers did you have for basketball?
A few D2, D3. Nothing big time. I had a couple conversations with, West Virginias of the world, the Clemsons of the world. Those were really the only two D1 conversations that I had. Everything else was pretty much D2, D3. I'm not gonna say I was like an All-American or all that, but in high school I was all right, all conference, all state, things like that. But yeah, no, it was mainly just like D2, D3. And I knew it was D3 because these D3 teams were recruiting me to be a center at 6'6". So that's how I knew it was D3 because I'm like, ain't no way I'm playing center at 6'6" in D1. So that's yeah. It's easy to tell.
What has been the biggest brand deal you've ever done?
Gatorade, hands down, Gatorade.
If
Yeah,
you could go,
not even
if
close.
number 4, if you could go back in time, what is one thing you would change about your D1 football experience?
My approach and my my attitude or my head once I got a little popularity, because you know how it is. You get a little popularity, your head start to, what I'm saying, like your head start to blow up. So that's probably the only thing I would change, especially like the situations I was in. Like as I was starting to go up, I had like different things happening in my life, like had me a little girl and all that. I was just like I was living, you know what I'm saying? I was on cloud nine at that moment. But like I said, like that recognition and all that, the clout is a month. I'm telling you, it can get to you, and it got to me, unfortunately. But that's just a part of my story, man. You can't evolve as a man unless you make mistakes. And that was college me. I look back at it now, and I can laugh about it, but in the moment, it's just like, man, what in the world was I thinking? So that's probably the only thing I would change, is how big my head got.
Lighter question: would you go on a reality TV show if you were given the opportunity?
I would, but I would beg and plead to be as normal as possible, because a lot of these cats, they just out and about, man. God bless my brother Chase the Moore, man. But it's like, I remember when he was one of us, one of the football guys, and now he's probably the biggest light skin in the world, which is not a bad thing. I find it entertaining, to be honest with you. Chase is a funny guy, but yeah, man, you can see, like, tell me that money can really get to you. So for me, it's one of those things where I would, but I would have to do like probably like a weekly check-in with my mom to make sure that I'm doing okay, and that I'm not that I'm not, you know, falling off the edge of the earth, with my attitude and stuff like that. So yeah, I probably would. The money would be nice. Give
That
me give me a little couple red carpets, what I'm saying? Give me a couple Getty images, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I probably would.
that would be funny to see you on there. But Chase is boxing now too. I saw.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, he's getting a lot of flack for his last boxing match, like where he was just kind of like, so I was like, there's gotta be some sort of context behind that. And so when I watched the fight, and when I watched the fight, I was like, oh, well, that's why, because he was boxing forever. He was probably just tired. And so I was just like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, he got a fight coming up. I'm probably gonna tune in. But yeah, man, yeah, this celebrity boxing, man, it's out of control. That's one thing I'll never do, because my thing is like, I don't pick and choose beef with people. A lot of these cats, they pick and choose who they want to have beef with. I'm like, bro, that's not what it's about, man. That's not what it's about. If you genuinely don't like the person and they don't like you, and you make it obvious that y'all don't like each other, then I can go ahead and take it to the ring. But if you're just doing it just to do it, like if you're just doing it like, who am I gonna pick on today? Justin Bieber. Hey, Justin Bieber. Like no, bro. That'd be like that would be like me picking a fight with who's a big time. That'd be like me picking a fight with King Batch or something like that. Like, hey, King Batch, you stupid MFer. Why don't you like, bro? Like, I got nothing against King Batch. Like nothing. Like, come on.
Hey man, ticket sales, social media is on the rise, as you know. It's just I don't know. I don't understand it. I guess it pays for TV. You get to watch it. It's entertaining, but they're not real boxers. We saw that with Jake
Yeah,
Paul. He's not a
right.
real boxer. He got put in his grave by a real boxer.
Put in
Hate to
its
say it,
place.
but
Yep.
but
Put
he
in its
did.
place.
He got put in his place, and that's just the way it is. So that'll do it for us today. Make sure to follow Clifford on Instagram at Clifford Taylor IV, Clifford Taylor IV, TikTok Clifford. He's always posting content daily. He's posting the center videos, as if you guys have seen those. The Lakers need a center. He's posting he's posting sports content. He's keeping up with the NBA, NFL, and as always, you know where to follow us. Find us Instagram at the IQM Pod, TikTok at the IQM Pod, Spotify, the Inquisitive Mamba, YouTube as well. We are officially at 210,000 plays on YouTube with our YouTube Shorts. So we are growing constantly, and we will see you next time.